In case you missed the Raticate video a few days ago, I just want to say once again that the voiceover quality might not be as high as normal. I had a couple of audio issues, they have now been resolved, and I shall hand on over to Past Me, who's got the run for you. Jellyfish have some very rude nicknames in certain languages, so maybe Tentacruel isn't the problem after all. We are of course back for another challenge run. Raticate did very well for itself in the last video, and this time we're running one of those Pokémon that people love to hate. It is of course the Tentacruel line. We're starting as Tentacruel, finishing at Tentacruel, and we're going to see just how well it does around the Johto and Kanto regions. And now I don't often ask this at the start of a video, but if you aren't subscribed to the channel and you want to see more videos just like this, then please do make sure to click that button down below. I know a lot of people might have unsubscribed during my long break, but I am back and I am chomping at the bit, ready for more challenges. Now let's take a look at the stats of Tentacruel. We have 19 HP at level 5, we're holding a berry and our only move is Poison Sting, 9 in attack and defense, 10 in special attack, a whopping 15 in special defense, and 13 in speed. I think it's pretty obvious where our strengths lie in this run. We are all about the special defense. Now, Poison Sting is an absolutely terrible move to begin with, and it doesn't get much better until level 19 when we get Acid. Acid still isn't great, but it will see us through, so we're absolutely gonna have to be relying on that all-important Poison status condition. We've got Confusion to add to the mix as well now that we've learned Supersonic, and let's see how we get on against the first rival battle. The rival has Totodile this time because I thought it would be inappropriate to have the type advantage over any of the starters. That just left Totodile and we managed to just chip away at it with Poison Sting, and we can move on to our first gym together. This is Falkner, the flying type specialist, and he leads with Pidgey. Now this is going to be a bit of a tricky battle because he has Mud Slap. Mud Slap lowers our accuracy and sometimes you've just got to take the L. I took the L early on that one and we took a couple of resets. We're only level 13 because we're in the slow experience group, and this time I just go for all out attack. Falkner, when you have a weakness to Mud Slap, is just about throwing the dice. More often than not, it's just the Pidgey that uses Mud Slap. The Pidgeotto prefers to use Gust because it's significantly greater damage. We aren't in great shape as we're down to 4 HP, so I do a Hail Mary of a Supersonic. It works as we knock out the Pidgeotto by itself and obtain the Zephyr Badge in 15 minutes and 35 seconds. Our second gym leader is Bugsy. By this time we have Acid, so it should be a little bit more tolerable. Acid is a 2-shot on the Metapod thanks to a critical hit, and we still use Acid against the Kakuna. It's not the best move, we decide to Supersonic as well, and we've just got to keep persevering. We're going to play to Tentacruel's strengths. It can last quite a while in battle, but we've got to make the enemy inflict damage on itself where it can. That can either be through Poison, Confusion, or a mix of both. The Scyther keeps hitting itself in Confusion, we use Poison Sting to knock it down, and it eventually knocks itself out with its Poison. That's the Hive Badge in a time of 39 minutes and 37 seconds. Goodness me, what a grind that was to get the Hive Badge. Let's see how we get on against the second rival battle. Of course, we don't have Razor Leaf to contend with because we're part Poison type. Instead, we've got to get through this Ghastly. Now, we're not really in much danger of being knocked out at the start of this battle, but it's incredibly frustrating running a Poison type because 2 of his 3 Pokemon share that typing. We get through the Ghastly and we use Supersonic against the Zubat as well. And once again, Acid is our best move. That combined with the Zubat hitting itself does mean we get through it, and then we can start aciding the Croconaw. A very lucky critical hit takes it down very low, we pick it off and we are through the second rival battle in just over 40 minutes. Whitney's next. We've learnt Bubble Beam by this point, so we actually have a half decent stab move. We start off with Bubble Beam against the Clefairy as it metronomes Foresight, which was absolutely useless for it, and the cow starts to roll. It doesn't get very far though, because 3 Bubble Beams later we knock it out, and we obtain the Plain Badge in a time of 49 minutes and 28 seconds. Let's now move on to Ecruteak City, Surf in hand from the Kimono Girls to take on the 4th rival battle. We've got a decent move for Haunter now, and we one-shot it with Surf, and we can do the same against the Magnemite. Here comes Zubat, and once again it's another Surf, and that just leaves Croconaw left to go. Now, we also got Hidden Power Ice from the Lake of Rage, but that's not really appropriate against the Croconaw, and in fact Surf is our best move here as well. We knock it out in 4 shots, we fall through the floor, and suddenly we're in the lighthouse. That must mean there's an evolution afoot. This is Sailor Ernest with his Machop, and it's against Sailor Ernest that we are going to evolve. It's been a bit of a slog here to level 32, but we are finally getting that long-deserved evolution. It's just a combination of Acid and Surf against all 3 of his Pokémon, and then we can say goodbye to Tentacruel and hello to Tentacruel. And now, with our very fine-looking Tentacruel, we'll make our way all the way back to Ecruteak City, and we'll take on Morty. He is the Ghost and Poison-type specialist, and he's going to lead with Ghastly. Now, I've got to be honest, this is a bit of a foregone conclusion for poor old Morty. Surf is very strong, we're fully evolved, and even the Gengar won't stand a chance. We held the Minceberry just in case Hypnosis hit. It didn't in this case, though, so it's a very clean sweep. We get the Fog Badge in an hour, 1 minute and 13 seconds. Let's now cross the sea to Cyanwood City, where Chuck is waiting for us. It's going to be the same old story with the Primeape. It's going to be a simple one-shot with Surf, but we're going to have to use our brain a little bit with the Poliwrath. We're still holding the Minceberry just in case he tries to make us take a nap, and thank goodness we did, because he does eventually send us to sleep, but the defense drop from Acid means we knock him out, and we obtain the Storm Badge in a time of 1 hour, 3 minutes and 26 seconds. Now the splits have disappeared. Unfortunately, Live Split crashed while I was taking a little mid-run break, but not to worry, we'll get our splits back against Price. Price does have a lot of water types, which makes the first couple of Pokemon a little bit pesky, but then we have a big reprieve against the Piloswine. Piloswine is the only Pokemon I believe that's weak to all 3 of the starter types, so we surf it away, and we get the Glacier Badge in 1 hour, 8 minutes and 50 seconds. Let's now move on to Jasmine. She is of course the Steel-type specialist of Olivine City, and she's going to lead with a pair of Magnemites and a Steelix. Now, we say this quite often against other trainers, but this time it's a foregone conclusion against Jazz. Magnemite might as well not have a special defense stat, and Steelix is weak to water, so the only barrier for us in this battle was a move we learnt in place of Supersonic. That's the Mineral Badge in 1 hour, 11 minutes and 50 seconds. Let's now go underground for the 4th rival battle. We are, of course, taking him on here in the Goldenrod Department Store underground, and we're going to use Hidden Power Ice against the Golbat to knock it out in 1. We picked up the Sludge Bomb TM just north of Mahogany Town, but that's no use against the Magnemite, so we'll use instead Surf. We'll do exactly the same against the Haunter, and here comes the Sneasel. Sneasel might be one of the most frail Pokemon out there, so it gets knocked out in a single hit, and the final Pokemon is Feraligatr. We now have something half decent against the Feraligatr, so we knock it out in a couple of Sludge Bombs, and we are through the 4th rival battle in 1 hour, 17 minutes. Let's now take on Claire. She's our final Jotonian gym leader, and she leads with Dragonair. Hidden Power Ice will make very light work of these 3 pesky dragons. We are not getting Thunder Waved in this particular battle, and it's all about the Kingdra. Now, I was playing to avoid the healing loop, but Hidden Power Ice crit. Fortunately for us, Claire locked herself into Hyper Beam so we could pick her off. We obtain her badge in 1 hour, 24 minutes and 38 seconds. And that is all 8 Jotonian gym badges acquired. We've got one final rival battle to go here at the Indigo Plateau before we think about the league, and he leads with Sneasel. Sneasel goes down in 1 hit, and we surf away the Magneton as well, and that brings us on to Kadabra. We carry on surfing against the Kadabra because it's a move we've selected, and you know what? We might as well do it against that Golbat as well. That just leaves 2 Pokemon left to go, and guess what? It's another surf against the Haunter. We're not going to surf against the Feraligatr though, that would just be silly. Instead we're going to critical hit to knock it out in 1 shot, and we say goodbye to the rival for another run. He put up a bit of a challenge early on, but he definitely got weaker the further through we go. We say thank you to Nurse Joy for healing our Pokemon at the league, and we also say thank you to the HM friends. So it's thank you to Kenya, Abra, Psyduck, and merci à Para, and it's time to buy our 4 full restores. This is make or break time. We could be the new Jotonian champion in just a few moments' time. Let's take a look at our stats going into the league. 175 HP at level 50, holding the Scamulet coin with Surf, Sludge Bomb, Barrier and Hidden Power Ice. 113 in attack, 104 in defense, 122 in special attack, 162 in special defense, our biggest stat, and 141 in speed. They are the out of battle stats. The in battle stats are going to be significantly higher, as we see against Will. Will is the psychic type specialist who leads with Johto, and thank goodness most of his Pokemon have an easily exploitable weakness. It's Hidden Power Ice for Johto, it is of course Sludge Bomb for Jinx, and 2 Sludge Bomb takes care of Slowbro. That brings us on to his second Johto. We go back to Hidden Power Ice for the Johto, and the final Pokemon is Exeggutor. Exeggutor is weak to poison, so he knock it out with a single Sludge Bomb, and that means that Will, who should have posed a bit of a threat, was absolutely harmless. Let's now be Poison type Specialist versus Poison type Specialist with Koga, except he's got 5 Pokemon and I've only got 1. We'll make up for that by having a 10 level advantage over his first couple of Pokemon, and Venomoth has hit us hardest out of any Pokemon in the league so far. We're onto the Fortress, and that's not going to go boom because we critical hit it with Surf, and we're going to hit the Muck with Surf as well. A couple of Surfs makes it go shoo, and the only Pokemon left to go bat is Crobat. Hidden Power Ice takes it into the red as he uses a full restore. He's in a partial healing loop, but he can evade it. He doesn't this time though, and we're through Koga in a time of 1 hour 31 minutes and 44 seconds. Up next is Bruno. He is the fighting type specialist, the second of the kind we've come up against, and he leads with Hitmontop. We use Sludge Bomb against Hitmontop as it digs and gets poisoned, and we are absolutely going to exploit Bruno's AI here. He sees Dig as the best move because it's super effective, but that means that we can still give it damage because it's poisoned, and we can just build up a couple of barriers in place. That's going to make the rest of the battle relatively trivial, barring any critical hits, and the most likely critical hit is going to come from Cross Chop. That's on his final Pokemon, which he sends out now. We use Sludge Bomb and we actually get quite an unfortunate critical hit. That means that Bruno is now in a bit of a healing loop. We poison it so that we do now actually guarantee the one shot. We finish it off with Surf, and that's Bruno taken care of in 1 hour 32 minutes and 43 seconds. Karen is our final league member and she leads with Umbreon. We use Sludge Bomb against the Umbreon, and of course it uses Sand Attack. We do manage to knock it out, but that doesn't put us in good stead for the Vileplume. We use Hidden Power Ice, and unfortunately for us, we get paralysed. I think we're fighting a losing battle now as Vileplume locks itself into Petal Dance. We'll see how the rest of the battle goes. Miracles can happen. Gengar swears at us to help us knock it out in one, and that does just leave 2 Pokemon left to go. But it all falls apart against the Murkrow, and we are back to square one. Back on the Scumbreon we are once more, and yet again we get Sand Attacked. We knock it out in 2, and we are back on that pesky Vileplume. This time Karen gets a Gen 2 miss with that 25% chance of status failure, so we are outspeeding the Gengar as it licks, so we're not even cursed, and that means we are pretty much guaranteed to knock out the final 2 Pokemon. Murkrow gives us a bit of a tricky time dodging a couple of Hidden Power Ices, but Houndoom is not going to dodge the Surf. We knock it out, grow to level 53, and we are through Karen in a time of 1 hour 34 minutes and 46 seconds. There's only one thing between us and the Hall of Fame now. It's Lance, the liar with the flyers, and he leads with Gyarados. We're going to do a little bit of setting up here against the Gyarados. Gyarados' biggest move against us is going to be Hyper Beam, but by the time we use a few barriers, it's going to be pretty much meaningless. Sludge Bomb's our best attacking move against the Gyarados, and we can knock it out in 2 after the Hyper Beam, and we are on to the Dragonite. We have just about enough special attack to knock out Dragonite with Hidden Power Ice, and that means we're not getting paralysed. He actually sends out all 3 Dragonites at once because he has that weakness to water with Charizard and Aerodactyl. Charizard's a simple one-shot of course, and Aerodactyl is going to be just the same. 2 Surfs knocks it out, and with that we are the league champions in a time of 1 hour 35 minutes and 42 seconds. Let's now see what our Hall of Fame time is as we finish the Johto section in 1 hour 35 minutes and 58 seconds. That's only half the story though, we've still got more to come, so don't you dare go anywhere. Kanto is next. And now we rejoin the action once again in Vermilion City. We're going to get the rare candy from the chairman of the Pokémon fan club. Of course, the first thing we do in Kanto is the last thing we did in Johto. Is get that rare candy from the chairman of the Pokémon fan club. And now as we're taking on the gauntlet of Kantonian gym leaders, I've got some fairly big news. I have spent more hours than I care to admit learning assembly coding. And one of the reasons I've been learning this is because I wanted to create a patch for Pokemon Crystal that means we don't have to use the universal Pokemon randomizer anymore. Instead, what will happen is we'll be able to select our starters in-game. That is going to save a lot of time and a lot of effort for challenge running. And not only that, it means if you don't have access to the universal Pokemon randomizer, you can still do challenge runs. And one of the other big features of this patch is you're also going to be able to select your hidden power type, and it's going to give you the best possible set of DVs for that hidden power type. And with both of those working in tandem, it means you don't need any external resources at all to start challenge running, because everything will be able to be set in-game. So that means you don't need Game Hook or any kind of analog of Game Hook, and you won't need the randomizer. All you will need is the ability to patch a clean Pokemon Crystal game. Obviously I can't point you in the direction of that, but I can point you in the direction of the patch. And that is going to be coming in the next week or so. I'm in the final stages of stress testing it to make sure that absolutely nothing goes awry. And as a little bonus, one of the other big things that we have coded in this patch is the rival will be able to have whatever's in the corresponding ball for him as well. So, say for instance if you had put Smoochum in place of Chikorita, Elekid in place of Totodile, and Magby in place of Cyndaquil, then the rival, if you pick Smoochum, will have the Magby. And not only that, at the appropriate level, so level 30, it will evolve, just like it would do with any other Pokemon. That's a huge feature that's taken many hours of coding, but I think it's going to be infinitely replayable. And in some upcoming live streams, I'm going to let you decide what I have and what the rival has to try and make the game as unbalanced and unfair as possible. So if you think that causing me some pain and suffering in Pokemon Crystal sounds up your street, make sure you are subscribed with notifications on so you don't miss when those live streams are coming afoot. I normally stream twice a week on Mondays and Fridays, normally at 2 PM United Kingdom time, and do make sure to keep your eyes out for other streams as well. And while we're on the topic of modifying Pokemon Crystal to within an inch of its life, if you have any ideas for any kind of modifications you'd like to see in Crystal, do let me know down in the comments below. I've gotten pretty adept at coding in Gen 2 if I do say so myself, and I'm always open to new ideas that we can try here on the channel. Big or small, it doesn't really matter, as long as it's something that you think you would have fun watching me do, then let me know and we'll see exactly how we can get it done. And while I can't guarantee I will be able to take up every idea because I'm not that skilled yet, I will absolutely endeavour to try my best to get as many of these fun ideas into Crystal as possible, give them a go on stream, and then if they are stable enough I'll release them as patches as well. And with that, we are now at our final rival battle already. It is of course Blue, and he led with Pidgeot. Now Pidgeot was no threat because we used Ice Beam that we got from the Goldenrod Game Corner, we use a return against the Alakazam, and we surf against the Rhydon. That just leaves 3 Pokemon left to go, starting off with Gyarados. Gyarados would have been a 2-shot range, however the poison made sure that it was just a simple 1 hit to knock it out, and then the penultimate Pokemon is Executor. Unfortunately for us, Executor uses Sunny Day and he gets into a healing loop, but we get a high roll on our second turn, and the final Pokemon is Arcanine. We carry on using Sludge Bomb because of course the sun is out. We poison the Arcanine, but he doesn't get into healing range. We finish it off in 2 hits, and that gives us our final badge in a time of 1 hour, 51 minutes and 33 seconds. We're really playing for the 2-hour mark here as we enter into our final battle. This is Red. He is of course the final boss of the game, and he leads with Pikachu. We're quicker than Pikachu, but we're not able to reliably one-shot it, so that means I take an instant reset and use 3 of our rare candies. We're going to try again at level 64. We use Sludge Bomb this time, and Sludge Bomb just about takes it into the red. We're not able to knock it out in 1, but look at how well we survived a Thunder. We have huge special defense, but even that is not enough for Psychic. We get finished off, so we use our next set of rare candies. We are now at level 71. Let's see how we get on. We use Sludge Bomb against the Pikachu, and this time it's a simple 1 hit to knock it out. Espeon comes out to play, we use Sludge Bomb, and we critical hit. That is arguably the biggest threat of this battle already gone. We use Sludge Bomb a couple of times against the Snorlax as Body Slam hits us. It doesn't paralyze us, and that leaves us in a very, very good position for the rest of this battle. We swap to Ice Beam for the Venusaur, hoping for a Lucky Freeze, which is exactly what we get. That means we can knock it out in two, and the final two Pokemon are Blastoise and Charizard. We use a Sludge Bomb against the Blastoise and we poison it. Surf is going to do absolutely nothing at all against us. It's barely tickling us and we're on 185 HP as the Charizard comes out. Surf takes it deep into the red, Wing Attack barely tickles us, and we are through red in a time of 1 hour, 55 minutes and 46 seconds. Some Pokemon age like milk and others age like a fine wine. And Tentacruel definitely goes into that second category. Let's take a look at where it is on the leaderboard. It is in a very, very valiant 51st place. I'm proud of that result, especially considering all the handicaps we had at the start. But that does mean Shuckle is shoved down to 72nd place. There's no change on page 2, of course, Primeape leading it up at the top and Arcanine at the bottom. And our page 1 is still undisturbed as well. Girafarig Redo in top spot, Scyther and Ursaring taking spots 2 and 3. And with that, we are done. So I'm going to say thank you all so much for watching. It's been a pleasure as always. If you did enjoy this run, then please do leave a like down below. If you want to see more runs just like this, then consider subscribing. If you have anything at all to say, leave a comment down below. And until next time, I'll say thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you with Blossom very, very soon.